Hey guys, so it's been a couple days since I was able to make a video and I have missed you guys. I have missed you guys so much, so I'm hoping that my phone has enough memory on it to film this video. Now this video is sort of a follow-up to one that I did before called, I think it was like, Are People Really Staring at You? I'll link it in the description. Um, and so, in follow up to that, sometimes people do actually stare, and a lot of people wonder like how to handle that or what I do to handle that. So if you are wondering that same thing, watch on. So this video spanned from I was just at the mall with a friend of mine a couple days ago, and she says, Mindy, do you notice all the staring? And I say, no, I don't notice it anymore. And she says, well, I wish I could just tell them to like come up and come over, and I would tell them what was like going on, or you could tell them, and they wouldn't have to stare. And I said, well, I wish that too, and really that only has ever happened to me once in my entire life. I was in a Walmart line, and a mom had a little boy who was staring because he was curious, and he asked, Mommy, why does she walk like that? And the mom said, well, why don't you go and ask her? And he asked me, and really that made my day. So if that person is out there and does ever stumble across this video, thank you. I don't know what you do for a living, but you are awesome. You're just an awesome person, and I think the world needs more people like you, because if we just ignore the staring and we just instead decide to say, no, let's just not look, we're breeding ignorance, in my opinion, and ignorance is what leads to misconceptions, and the only way to really break down those misconceptions and stereotypes at the root, in my opinion, is to really, talk about them and engage them when they're young kids, or even if they're, older, 10, 11, 12, or even those different teenagers who are around, you know who you are, who decide to mock you. You know, if I was able to meet you when you were younger and explain all of the things that happen to people, whether they are have a disability or any kind of other situation in their life, and I don't want to come across all knowing, you guys, but I'm just saying, if we are able in some small way to contribute to the breaking down of stereotypes just by being ourselves and by being open people, if we want to be and if we have time to be, then why not? Let's stop the staring and the uncomfortableness that quite obviously always follows. And whether we notice it or not, it happens, and I'm not saying we should become self-conscious either. I guess I'm just saying to all those people who stare, instead of staring, stare and then come up and ask, talk to us. We don't bite. That's why when anybody stares at me, I will sort of say to them, hi, how are you? And then they get really, really kind of uncomfortable, and I'm okay, and they walk away. And I'm not trying to be at all rude. I'm trying to start the dialogue and the conversation, which is why I'm making this video today, here and now, is to start that dialogue and that conversation again. And I feel like in the comments is a safe place to voice your opinion if you would like to, and if we can start to really demystify all of this for people, whether it's that you have a disability, or maybe you have tattoos or piercings, or are just in some way different. Different is weird, different is odd, because we are raised in a society right now that values sameness. And then you wonder really what is sameness, but people strive for difference. And then, as people who are different, quite obviously every day, we are striving for sameness. That's a whole other video, but it just brings across the point that a difference is a difference. And yes, it's weird to some people, but when it is something you're curious about, inquire, ask, figure it out. That's what I have always done with people who, once I become comfortable with them, and with just things in life, whether it's Googling something or something like that. Because without talking to people, we are really just creating this ability for people to have their misconceptions, and then that that's fine. That is not fine, but that also makes it harder for us to break down stereotypes when they're more ingrained. So I feel like I've repeated myself enough, but if you have any other comments about staring and or situations you've been in with it, please leave them down below, and I will talk to you tomorrow.